Are you feeling broke, desperate, and completely helpless when it comes to your finances? Well, try this. Now, before I get into this, I would ask you to go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload a video. And of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get into this one. Are you feeling broke, desperate, and helpless when it comes to your finances? Well, I've been there. I've been at a point that was just the lowest of the low when it comes to my finances. This was about 25 years ago. I was actually towards the end of my education at Abilene Christian University. And I had taken out a bunch of student loans myself, and my wife also took out student loans. We found ourselves over $100,000 in student loan debt. And these student loans were with different carriers. So we had one over here and one over there, and the bills started coming in. On top of that, we had credit card debt and $10,000 plus worth of credit card debt. And those bills were coming in. And we were just at a point to where our income did not match the financial mess that we had put ourselves in. And we were completely trashed financially, just bankrupt, and nowhere to go to actually comfort us or get us to a point of equilibrium with our finances. And I had to get on the phone and call my mom to send me $400 just to be able to seek some help in our financial situation. It was a low point for me 25 years ago. And you probably find yourself at a point to where you're broke, desperate, and you're feeling absolutely hopeless about your financial situation. And for me, 25 years ago, I was sitting on a bench, just like I'm sitting on now. I'll move down so that you can actually see this bench. And I was sitting there, staring out into space. And I was just, the only word to say is devastated. I felt completely hopeless. I couldn't find a way to fix our financial situation. And in my devastation there, I felt so low. And I felt that there was no way out. And I was mulling in that. And I'm sure that you, if you're finding yourself in this situation, can relate to that. But then something hit me while I was sitting on that bench. Something swelled up in me. And I give a lot of credit to my faith, my religious faith, Christianity. But something came up in me, and a spirit kind of grabbed me and said, get up off of that bench. And so I got up off of the bench. And that's what I'm telling you. You got to get up off of the bench that you're in mentally. Now, you might still be physically on that bench. You might still be down there physically, meaning that you still do not have the resources and that. But if you get off of the bench in your mind, then you can make some changes. You can start walking on a path that takes you to a better place with your finances. But it starts in your mind. You have to have freedom, or at least a picture of financial freedom in your mind. So while I was on that bench, I said a little prayer. I told God that if you could help me find the information that I need to change my finances, I would follow it. I would take it seriously. And I believe God led me to that through books. I actually picked up a little book at a bookstore called Hastings in Abilene back then, The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And this, even though after reading that book, I was still in the bondage of debt, my mind was freed. I was able to see what the possibility of debt freedom was for me. And so I encourage you to do that as well. Free your mind. I remember in graduate school, we read a book, A Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Viktor Frankl. And what I learned from that book, Viktor Frankl was Jewish, or is Jewish, and he was in a concentration camp. A devastating situation where you were stripped of everything, your clothing, in fact, and you had to stand naked. So you were stripped of everything taken from you. And the Jewish people went through the worst atrocities in these camps. But what Victor said is they couldn't take what was in his mind. They couldn't take his attitude. They couldn't take his why that drove him through that process. And so that's what I would say to you. You find yourself broke and desperate. Renew your mind. Have your mind in a state to where you're able to project and see freedom. So in your mind, you are free. In your mind, you have a plan. You know, when I was on that bench 25 years ago, I envisioned being free one day. And the book, The Total Money Makeover, gave me a map to freedom. Now, I don't follow everything perfectly in Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, but it gave me a roadmap. It gave me some steps to where I could go from that financial bondage and being on the bench to, in my mind, getting up and having steps to become debt-free and to build wealth. You know, on this channel, if you follow me at all, that I give you some steps that I have gone through to actually get control of my finances. Having that $2,000 emergency fund. Actually taking advantage of a company match if you have that at work. Then getting rid of consumer debt like credit cards and things like that. And then getting that 3 to 6 month emergency fund. And finally, investing in assets and building wealth. I utilize paper assets, index funds in fact. I utilize a total stock market index fund to build wealth for the future. And so I talk about these things on a regular basis, but that started in my mind. I actually developed that financial literacy by reading books. And that's what I recommend for you. But from day one, where you're at right now, if you're financially devastated, start there and free your mind. Have the belief that you can be there one day. For me, it took me about 7 years to clean up my consumer debt, credit cards and things like that. And then I spent additional years all the way up to 25 years after that to get to the point to where I'm this close now to complete debt freedom. It doesn't have to take you 25 years though. My hope is that you're able to do it in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or maybe even 10 years. If your situation is that tough to actually go from point A to point B with your finances. But you gotta get up off of the bench in your mind. Take in things like this. Draw some strength from me and my story. Also, do some reading. Get some books. Put some knowledge into your head. Like I said, I read The Total Money Makeover, but I also read other books, like The Richest Man in Babylon, The Richest Man in Babylon was a great book to read back then. I also read other books that helped me, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that taught me the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset is anything that puts money into your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. But there's so many different things like that. But you have to get into a paradigm shift in your mind. And know that your future can be different from where you're at right now. My hope for you is that this little quick video encourages you to get off of that bench of despair, that bench of hopelessness, that bench of feeling that there's no way out of your situation. Again, I hope this is helpful to you. And if any of the videos that I do give you some value, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment on the videos, which would be great. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel and give that thumbs up. Thanks again for listening to this one, and I hope that you have an excellent day. Take care.